Hi, welcome to part 2 of our Deephaven performance test demo. In this video, we're going to go into the nitty-gritty details of how to get started and also kind of what some of the scripts mean. Okay, let's get to work. So first off, you've probably seen the repo for the Deephaven demo. On the left is our Deephaven demo for Deephaven, and on the right is the Deephaven demo for just Materialize. Now, the Deephaven one takes all of the Materialize commands and adds to it the Deephaven way. And so the first thing that you're going to want to do is to clone that repo. And then once you clone that repo, you're going to want to do a docker compose up. So here I've already cloned it and I'm executing the docker compose up. So all of that is going to send it into the background. So now I have Deephaven up and running, I have my loadgen script working, and all of that is going on in the background. Now, the other thing that I'm going to want to run is I want to make sure that my Materialize Docker is also running. And so I'm going to launch that as well. So now my Materialize session is also started. So step 2, and if you notice along with this, on the left is the Deephaven, on the right is Materialize. All of the bullet points line up and are one-to-one. And so at this point, I want to go into my localhost 10,000 IDE to see my Deephaven setup. And I'm already in my kind of Materialize setup. That was the last command I run. So once I go there, you can see I'll reload. And here I have the Deephaven IDE. Now, first thing off the bat, I want to show how much I love the Deephaven IDE versus kind of the Materialize command prompt. It's just because it gives me something to work with and see stuff over time. So from there, we want to get the actual use case running and see how things are working. So there's a lot of kind of things to set and make your use case kind of work for you. For example, how much you want to show in your tables and things like that. But I have all that set up in the background, so I'm going to jump into step 7 on both of these. Now, step 7 is when you're starting to create those sources that link to the Kafka schema. And so whether it's the Deephaven version or the Materialized version, these are commands that I want to run in that platform. So I'm going to copy the Deephaven one and paste it into the IDE. Give it a second to run. While that's running, I'm going to copy the Materialized one. And here we can see in the Deephaven IDE, all of those tables loaded, and so I can see them actually happen. In real time, as the purchases are coming in, or the items or users, that just shows up right in my IDE. So now with the Materialize one, I'm going to create those sources as well, and each one gives me the feedback that that source was created. Okay, so I'm off to a good start. Now, what do these do? So the users is going to simulate the users that come into the simulated e-commerce site. We have items, which are the items that are essentially purchased on the e-commerce site, or at least available on the e-commerce site. The ones that are purchased are then listed on the purchases table, and every single page that is seen is listed on the page seen table. And we worked really hard to make sure that the query that we're running in Deephaven is analogous to that same query that is in Materialize. So as we go along, the next thing that we want to do is we want to be able to sort and filter this information so that it's actually really useful. To do that, we have this option to take the page view and we split it via the URL path so that we can actually get more information from it. So this takes the URL and splits it so we get more information. So I'm going to copy it and paste it into Deephaven. I'm going to do the same thing for my Materialize view, paste it into Materialize, and we can see that we have this view created. In Deephaven, we also have that view created, but it popped up right there in my IDE. So I'm off to a good start. So next, we want to actually be able to do some analytics on this. And so these are the analytical view, and this is where we're starting to get into the real power of this incremental update model, like Materialize and Deephaven. Because as these new purchases come in and these new users come in, we can sum up all of the purchases and we can link them to the previous ones. So what this does is it takes it and it essentially aggregates up every single purchase by the item. And so I'm going to paste that into my Deephaven, and I'm going to copy and paste it into my Materialize view. And then we can see that the Materialize view told us the view was created, and the Deephaven one actually popped up with the actual table. Okay, so next we can actually do things like how many pages were viewed by item. So this is opposed to the items being purchased, it's the actual ones that are seen. And notice that we have the pages by item, and again in Materialize we have pages by item. And so whether you're working in the Deephaven version or the Materialize version, you can just copy and paste that command right into whatever platform you want so that you can see what's going on. And so if this gets too tedious for you to copy and paste, we also have a whole entire script for you to kind of go through and just pull in the script, whether it's the Materialize script or the Deephaven script. I'm going to go into one more table so that we can actually see kind of the power of the Deephaven versus Materialize. And that one is this top viewed by item. Now, what this does is it takes everything that we've pulled in so far, and it essentially aggregates those together, and it sorts those so we're only seeing the items that are most likely most viewed. And this is really important because these tables or materialized views are downstream from the other tables or materialized views. And so that means that as more people come in, oh, I already did that one, so I get for talking too much. As more people come in and view things, then these downstream tables are going to update in real time. So now we can see that we have these two tables in Deephaven, and there's a lot of motion in that. Now, in order to see this in the Materialize view, we have to execute something called the watch command. And this will essentially update every second or so as the new data comes in. Now, it's not quite as friendly as the Deephaven version, but at least it's a way for us to kind of look and see what's going on. So here you can see that things are updating in real time. And this is really useful because as you have a whole bunch of data coming in, you can see essentially which items are being purchased at a better rate. Now, in the next video, we're going to start to stress test this system. We're going to instead push all of these commands into the Deephaven terminal and the Materialize terminal, and then we're going to crank it up to 1 million page views per second and see how each one of them does. So if that interests you, stay tuned to part 3. Bye.